We're live.
We're live. Well, hello. Good evening.
And you know your phone is going to
I know it is. That's what I was just trying to prepare for. But I wanted to be nice and say hello. What?
Jennings is over here trying to tell us something. When we think we have them settled, sometimes we don't really have them settled.
Well, we got a new camera, and Aiden is working on it, so we're trying to figure it out.
Uh-oh. He was standing on the back of the chair. All Things Acres, how are you? Kelly, how are y'all tonight? Been a little warm in Mississippi still. No signs of fall here.
We've had a lot of rain. What's been something crazy is July for us, we're supposed to get anywhere from like 5 to 7 inches. We've already had, I think, 12 as of record today. So we're well over it. This has been the biggest month of rain for Mississippi.
Definitely not a drought here this year. Not this summer anyway.
No, not typical at all.
Hey, this goes along with everything else that's been atypical of this year.
Hey, but it's been good for our grasses, though. We've had those rocking.
Miss Linda.
Hey, Miss Linda, how are
75 degrees. Wow, that would be nice. We had more like
Hey, Big Dave.
95 degrees.
Yeah, it's supposed to get really hot next week, so the rain is going to stop. The humidity has been nuts, though, so it's been very humid lately. It was funny.
Right, it's like one of those things where, seriously, hot and humid hot are so different because you hear people from our area that like go out west and they're like, it's hot, but it's so different. But humid hot is like you go out and you immediately start sweating. It's like you step into the shower, you just are immediately wet. Isn't that funny?
I think we're buffering.
Are we buffering? Can y'all hear us? Maybe that's just Colby's phone. I don't know. The screen has been fine on the computer, so I'm not sure. Oh, Big Dave, be careful driving and watching. Are you coming? I think you've spent more time away than you have here.
I know. I'm trying to get all these problems solved. I thought we were ready. Crazy. So where we're at, our internet is really not good. So we literally have 2 mobile hotspots that we run all our internet access off of. And our kids like to watch some of the shows or YouTube, so it sucks up one internet, and then we have to cut over to the other one. So
hey, Miss Kathy from
crazy.
North Star Prep.
Hey, Miss Rebecca. Hey, Wendy. Yeah, it's been really hot here, so it's like 100% humidity. What was so crazy, we were trying to it's been raining every day. Yesterday, we put off moving the pigs for about 2 days, 3 days extra. So it's been about over 2 weeks where they're at.
We would go out and say, we're going to move them, and then it would
flood.
be, yeah.
And it's harder to move pigs when it's raining because they're in the forest and it's hard to go around. So we, I said, well, I'm going to go do it because Aiden got wet all that morning doing chores. I said, well, I'll just go do it myself. It's not raining yet. I walked outside, it started flooding. Oh my gosh. And so when you're moving pigs like that, it just makes it even more tough. But we got them moved. It was great. But they got soaked today. They were under some trees, though, today, versus being where they were.
Yeah, definitely not a drought here in the South for sure.
No, we're getting
We have definitely
rains.
had our fair share of wetness in the ground.
Yeah, I can't complain though. I mean, we usually by this time of year we're starting to see some of our grass start getting more yellow and brown. It's been beautiful. Our grass is doing really, really good. And if you know any animals, if you have animals, it's good to have good grass. So we're working on. We actually to a point where we're trying to clean up those front fields, and we can't even do it because it's rained so much. So it's been crazy. Hey, congrats, Big Dave. Looks like someone had a grandson. So.
Oh,
congratulations.
Wow. Noah, I love that name.
So what do you want to talk about tonight? We didn't really have an agenda.
No. What y'all got going on?
I'm telling you, I'm glad always tell Misty, love this season, love all the things going on, but I absolutely love as honey and gardens start slowing down, the bees and the gardens start slowing down, it almost gives you like a sigh of relief, like, whew, everything's coming together. Everything's working good. We've got a great harvest. Now it's good that it's over. So I get to that point. I'm almost getting the burnout stage in late summer. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, but then I like come in with my big basket today, and I had a bottle full of okra and cucumbers on top with some squash, and then I had my bell peppers, and then what else did I have in there? I had some lavender and calendula flowers on it. Tomatoes. I had tomatoes on there.
Awesome.
So like to bring in that big bucket every day of like fresh food.
It was nice.
I love doing that. Now there is a point in time in canning where I'm like, okay, if I have to pull all this stuff out again and stand over the stove all day, one more day, I think I might cry. But it is a lot of hard work, but it is so rewarding in the same sense. And so I guess gardening is kind of the same way. I mean, it is a lot of hard work, and you can go out and you get to a stage you're like, oh, I'm kind of ready to be done, but then it is so rewarding at the same time. So
Kelly, around here we can't seem to sell eggs a lot because our eggs are either non-GMO or organic. So for us to sell eggs and actually make sense, we would need to be selling it for $4 or $5 a dozen. There's a lot of people around here that sell them for $2 and $3. So that's just one thing that we tend to not do. I mean, every once in a while we'll have to sell some because we have a bunch, but if you can sell them for $3 and feel like you can cover your cost in it and not waste your eggs, I think that's fine. For us, when we get eggs, it's hard for us to sell them for that low just because
we have so much in the feed.
Yeah, our feed issue. Now, when we were doing more of a conventional feed, it really wasn't that bad. But now we're paying about double the price of what we were paying for feed. So that makes these chickens, some of them, they'll lay great one day and then not great one day. So it's just kind of volatile. So it's hard for us to justify selling them. We'd rather just surplus them.
So Miss Kathy from North Star said that it has been extremely rarely dry for them. They've actually only had 1 inch of rain in the past several months. But she says that her beans and what else did that just say? Beans and basil
and peppers
are getting ready to harvest. That's very exciting.
Our peppers are really starting to come in now.
Yeah, ours are really starting to produce. But that is really exciting. You know, you get to that point where you go out and you do all your work, and then you get the rewards of going out and getting your fresh food, and it's very rewarding.
Mary Beth, if they're putting on flowers and they're putting on green leaves, that means you're not having a nitrogen issue. You probably want to check your soil. It might be phosphorus, or you might just need some potassium or potash. That's what it sounds like to me, because usually you want your fruit to come on in. And so you're having all the good things. It's just not going ahead and finalizing that. So it's probably going to be a potassium or phosphorus.
Well, and if they're not like rotting or turning brown,
they may just be slow.
We've noticed that with some of our vegetables that we don't pour the fertilizer to, that it might just take them a little bit longer just to go ahead and completely fill out.
Yeah.
But just keep an eye on them. If there's no signs of disease or bacteria or anything, I would just give them a little bit longer. They may just take a little bit longer.
It's like Carrie and Mindy says they sell their chicken eggs for $5 a dozen and $2 per coil eggs.
That's Carrie and Mindy.
For us, it's to be hard again. $5 is a minimal for us, just because of what we have in the chicken. So Jennings is watching Blippy.
Talk about making somebody a lot of money on YouTube.
He watches it.
Jennings watches Blippy a lot. It's a little educational kid show. And
I promise everybody knows who Blippy is.
Well, some that don't have small children might not. Anyway, he goes to like zoos and tours and goes to like children's museums and different places, and he goes to like farms and does tractors and stuff. And anyway, he teaches the kids, he points out colors and shapes and all kinds of stuff. And Jennings just loves him. He thinks he's the coolest thing ever.
Let's see. I'm testing out different spots to plant on the new homestead in Virginia. We're the same way. There's times that we have gardens going like where our gardens are now. We realize there's just things that just won't grow there. I mean, so we've tried different parts of the farm. The raised beds work really good, and then we've got this new section where the soybeans did really good this year there versus over where they were. So you do. I think what makes us understand animals and gardening is we don't understand our animals and gardening, so we just maneuver them around to the point where we really feel like they're thriving in this area. It's kind of like our sheep. Our sheep was in one area when we first bought it, and we were like, "Oh man, this is gonna be perfect. We'll never move them."
They ended up
They
getting
get sick, and they wouldn't eat the grass over there. So now they've been off that area for 2 years. Well, how long? A year and a half?
A year.
Year.
About
Okay.
a year.
So
This is about this time last year when we started treating them.
so once they got off
Because
that
they have
area,
flu.
they've been perfect. No issues whatsoever. So I guess you just got to learn your farm. We're the same way. We're still learning literally every day.
Seeing that herbs are doing good. Actually, went
Thank you,
out
Miss Diana.
today and got lavender and some calendula flowers and tied them up with a rubber band and hung them upside down.
Hey, CMC.
And I have basil coming out from everywhere that I have got to get out and get harvested. But I'm going to tell you what, speaking of locations and places, we planted a lot of sage and mistakenly planted all of it in the same place, which is down in our new beds that we built up right out of our back. And the whole purpose of that was because we wanted to basically go out the back and harvest and gather food. Well, I think it's too wet down there.
Yeah.
For
Well, I think
the
it's too wet for that
peppers
kind of stuff.
and the
Yeah.
sage, they're not doing
peppers don't
good.
like
I've
wetness
lost.
either.
Yeah, well, we didn't realize it was going to be as wet in that
Well, we've
area
had
as it.
crazy wet.
But the basil is doing amazing. The strawberries are doing amazing. So many other things. But sage and peppers are a big no-no there next year. So
We'll
you
keep
do
them up
plant
higher.
stuff and you learn. That is our newest beds. So we had the strawberries there for a few months, and then we have everything else there for the strawberries have been there the longest, and that was since February.
Probably.
Or March, and then the other ones are even newer planted than that. So it's going to be kind of one of those things where you just kind of figure out what does the best. I have in one section of the same area, I have marigolds that are like huge, and then some on the other side they're like this tiny and they won't grow. So yeah, go figure.
CNC, how many cows are you milking? I guess you're milking twice a day. Amy, yes, the aloe did survive. Actually, our video tomorrow touches on the aloe, and just thanks you again for the aloe that we got.
Yep.
But we planted it or tomorrow on the video.
I was kind of surprised at how beautiful they look, considering whatever crazy stuff happened with the mail that took them so long to get here. Coming straight out of the box, they were super, super dry, but they looked great. So I soaked those in some, well, it's all in the video, but I soaked those in some water overnight, got those planted the next day. I did get some clips of those and just showing how I got all that done. So.
Banal Summers, have you ever heard of Florida cracker cattle? I have not. That's a new one on me. I've never heard of those. CNC2 cow. So you're milking twice a day? Oh, calf sharing, milking once a day. Okay, so you're milking afternoons. Okay.
Well, we talked about taking a little family quick getaway, but it's going to have to definitely be while Trixie is still.
So she's still got a month and a half. So that's
until probably the end of September is our.
But see, Josie would be due around September, so it's probably going to have to be August.
I don't want to do August. Hey, Miss Vera.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, she's been doing some new pressure canning this summer too. I'm really excited to say that I think there's so many people. I've talked to so many people this year that have said this is our first summer pressure canning. So I kind of don't feel like the Lone Ranger out there. There are actually a lot of people coming around to learn that skill, which I think is great.
Well, it's been kind of cool for us because we were not big canning people, and then all of a sudden Misty just kind of jumped into it, like dived into it. It's really done well. We have a cool video coming out on the actual cannon shelf.
Spoiler alert!
You got to see it. It's pretty huge.
It is beautiful. Huge. If y'all follow us on Instagram, you've already seen it.
But Karen, how are you?
Or Facebook, you've already seen it. But it is absolutely beautiful.
It is huge.
Very, very proud to have that.
It's unbelievable. I'm lucky I got a neighbor lady that can running my milking machine so I can get out of town. That is awesome.
That is awesome.
Because I told somebody the other day, actually I was talking to Zach Stivers. I said, you'll be marrying your farm when you get a dairy cow. And that's true because pretty much you have to be here. If you're not, you better have some really good friends. So that's awesome, CNC Farms.
just wait until you can meals in the jars. It's so fun and rewarding. I am excited about that. I haven't mixed anything yet, but lima beans and Mississippi
Pink eye purple.
pink eye purple hull. Those are the only ones that I've mixed so far. But I do plan to this fall, once the outside stuff is kind of shift to settle down, I do plan on canning some beef, some butter, and some chicken. So those are the next
Thank you, Miss Cheryl.
on my list. It's going to be very interesting to can real butter, but I've been told it can be done. I know Miss Wanda from Deep South has canned butter, because when I was going through her pantry, I was like, this is so cool. Who would have ever thought to can butter? But she did. Hers was store bought. Mine is not, but I've still been told that you can do
And the
it.
store thing.
So, yeah, I'm excited about that too.
I think Missy's just like to try every little thing and see the different colors and how they come out. So it's been kind of cool. It's been kind of fun. It really has been.
It's kind of like we've said before, to have all of your eggs in one basket. I really want some vegetables not in the freezer,
Hey, Miss
some
Shirley,
meats
Miss Moran.
not in the freezer, some types of fats not in the freezer. I did do chicken broth too, so I was excited about that. And that was like super easy. I mean, like as easy can get. So, you know,
Again, the chicken broth off our chicken. That's just what's so cool.
Well, it kind of goes back to what I said. I don't want all of our eggs in one basket, because if the power goes out from a storm or whatever the reason may be.
Or this crazy world.
Well, whatever the reason may be. You know, I want some things. I want not everything in the freezer.
And so that brings up another good point. Funny you should say that, because we have the canning and the freezing, and then we believe in dried foods. We love dried foods. We have freeze-dried foods.
Not freeze-dried, dehydrated.
Dehydrated, I'm sorry.
Well, we do have freeze-dried, but not that we done.
So what that means is we are now affiliates of My Patriot Supply.
Yeah,
that's what I was coming to say, and you just were killing that.
Well, I meant when you said freeze-dried, I thought that you meant
no, we
didn't
do
had
it.
done it.
No. So we do have a My Patriot Supply link. It's one of those things that they have different savings. You
That's
can
right,
go to the
Miss
link.
Kathy, diversifying your food.
But one thing I've learned, that if you can't grow it or you can't have your meats and things like that, we still have tons of prepared foods already that's not even made by us. So it just gives us another option, and all you have to do is add water.
Add water.
Great. It's not chemical food, nothing like that. It tells you all that's in the ingredients. So check those out.
And a lot of them are going to be like most of them are like your pastas,
rices,
noodle
beans,
type things with
dried fruits. They have some dried fruits and all that too.
But it's also with different seasonings, like seasons with pepper, seasons with black pepper.
That's good, CNC.
Seasons with,
Miss
stuff
Kathy,
like that. So
that's what I'm talking about. Golly.
Yay! Thank you, Miss Kathy, for putting that affiliate link on there. So we are excited about that and hope that you will check them out. I think that you guys will be blown away by the amount to offer, the variety. That's what I was trying to say. The variety that they have to offer, and pricing.
It's really not bad, and there's discounts for every one of them, especially using our link.
So I think that y'all will be pleasantly surprised to go check them out.
Piper Homestead, great question. Hello from southeastern Colorado. Do I need to cure my onions before I chop them and freeze them? No. Here's the thing. The only point of curing onions, or you're trying to, is you want to be able to store them outside of freezing or dehydrating, and also to bring that water table down. In the case if you're just going to directly cook them, you'll be fine to just go ahead and take them right out of the ground and cook them. Same way with freezing them. Now, they will have a heavier water content. So if you're wanting some of that water content out of it, which you probably do, there's nothing wrong with curing them. But if you just said, hey, I just want to cut them up, eat some, chop some, and put them in the freezer, you would be fine to do that. Just make sure you clean them real well. You just will have you'll be crying over your onions a whole lot more, and they'll have a heavier water content. Misty was cutting up some the other day, And like literally, she was just pouring
My
because
eyes
fresh
were-
onions are very
My eyes
strong.
are being tortured. Yes, so when we dug ours up, we left ours outside on the porch,
Which
for
is on the
several
video
days,
tomorrow.
On the porch for several days. Then I brought them in, cleaned them up, washed them off, chopped them up, stuck them in the dehydrator
I agree,
for
Miss
about
Diana.
24 to 30 hours. Took them out, put them in my little grinder that I was gifted by my wonderful viewers, and formed a powder. And I have, why don't you go grab that? It's on the pantry. I have a half of a quart jar of onion powder. No, it's in the other pantry. And it is absolutely beautiful. Do you use your onion flower seeds? I am not the other one. I am not educated enough to do that. We did let some go to flower, and I just kept waiting, and I just kept going to the ones that were dead and pulling them off and moving them around at my hand, and I could never find a seed. So I've got to do more research on what I'm doing. So here is, it's actually more than half. It looked,
I think that's so cool because to
little.
me, when we think about
This is all onion powder.
from our garden, I mean that's so cool. We've always talked about spices. You know, if we eat rice and beans and all this meat all the time, you know it gets bland. So you think about raising your own spices, but to then turn around and dehydrate them and mince them up and make your own red
And
pepper
that was
flakes
a lot of onions. And
yeah.
when you talk about, you like Colby said, you put them in the dehydrator, you're pulling the water content out, which is what makes them last, because water is what causes things to ruin. So you're pulling that water out, and then they shrink, and then you grind them to powder. So that was actually, looking at it, it's like, oh, that's not really a lot. This is really a lot.
Yeah. That was probably 35-ish, 30.
See, I was thinking about 40.
Right, 40 onions.
And they were about medium size. But this will season actually a lot of meals. So it doesn't look like a lot, but it really is.
But we're so disconnected with our food that we can go to Walmart and buy the cheapest onion flakes for 88 cents. You know, and what that is, it makes us, hold on.
I think Jennings has the remote, and he's in there turning. He's in there turning. Another group that we absolutely love on YouTube is Dude Perfect, and they're just a good, awesome group of guys, and our kids are obsessed.
I wish they'd watch our videos like that.
We're not that cool.
But you know, when you think about it, that was a lot of work into that onion powder. I mean, it really is. So when we just go lackadaisically and buy our food from Walmart, we think, oh, we'll just dump
I
this
do
onion
have
powder
to
out.
admit, it was not nearly as much work as planting, picking, shelling, and canning those peas.
I know, but when you think about it, holy
strong.
moly, look, you can see the smoke coming off of it. But it makes you thankful. But you realize how disconnected you are from your food when you talk about just this little bit of seasoning of onions. You realize that? I mean, we didn't realize how much it took to make onion powder, even though we were growing onions. But to make onion powder is crazy.
Yep.
Anyways, I'll get off that. I just thought that was really cool. How do you get rid of earwigs? They are destroying my tomatoes. The best thing for us, we try to do everything as natural as possible. So if you are using a D in your soil, but then turn around, we have a spinal soil soap. It's organic. It's
like a spray.
It's like a spray. You mix it up. That's about the only thing we'll use. If anything passes that, then we just know that we're going to probably lose some of it. I guess that's the way we look at it.
Yeah.
That's why we try to overplant, because we are going to lose some things. Like our pea. That's why I think we love peas and beans. As hard as they are to deal with, they just grow really good, and you can get a great surplus. So for us, even though we love our squash, cucumbers, tomatoes, we're going to always risk a little of those versus the peas and beans. What do you say?
Yeah.
I mean, we just are. Even potatoes, corn, same way. So peas and beans are always just that fallback to say we're going to get a great harvest, no matter what.
Okra does pretty well too in our area. Because
we had one year that was just bad. What do you say?
Yeah, they would go spiny or hard, whatever you want to call them, and they were like small. But I honestly think that was the variety.
Yeah.
I think it was the variety.
I think it was bad seed too. I think it was a hybrid seed we got from the co-op.
Rehab Life says, when cutting onions, my eyes don't bother me when I'm wearing my contact lenses. I don't guess I've ever noticed that. I don't think I had my contacts in that day.
No, that was at night. That was about.
But it was horrible. My eyes were tortured. I will have to admit. But I got it all done, and my dehydrator was full, y'all. The whole top had garlic on it, and then every dehydrator shelf under that was all onions, and yeah, I was pretty excited about that.
Miss Kathy is rocking it with some good answers there for the earwigs, sure. CNC said, "Good sharp knife helps me with the onions." We have some sharp knives, but use ours.
I was using my what is it called?
She was using a mandolin slicer just because we were going in the dehydrator with it. But if we were cutting them up, we would have used a knife as well. I thought that was really cool. That was probably just, you get these new things for the year, and that's just one of those things I thought was really neat to have onion powder made here. I thought that was really cool.
And then I did red pepper flakes right after that.
Which we like red pepper flakes. I do.
You do on everything. Colby eats red pepper flakes on everything.
I do.
But then I took some of my dehydrated bell peppers from last year and made some brown gravy with some hamburger steaks. And y'all, I have to admit, Petey is really good.
He's been the best tasting cow we've had.
He is really good. Even to cook and smell, my kids are like, what is that smell?
That's funny, Vanille.
But they're very funny about other like meats. But they were super like not weirded out, I guess you could say, about eating the meat from Petey, and it is really good. But anyway, I made hamburger steaks. I made some brown gravy and took my dehydrated bell peppers from last year. I had just have them stored in the jars like this, and I just took them out. They're not powdered. I just cut them up into slices and dehydrated them and put them in the jars.
Like crumbles, almost.
And then I took those pieces out and put them down in that gravy while I was cooking it, and just kind of let them rehydrate in that gravy, and poured it over that meat. And that was probably some of the best hamburger steaks I believe I've ever had. They were so good.
I'm going to be one of those people that says that to me, if you raise all your cows the same way, your quality of meat's not different. Petey has been the best so far. Out of all three.
But I also think who handles the meat
makes a huge difference.
Makes a difference too, because Ike shouldn't have been that much different, and to me, it was very different.
But we didn't like that processor either.
So,
hey, Kieran.
Very, very happy and pleased this time.
Fowler family is new to the channel. Thank you so very much for coming on. Kelly, on the Patriot Supply, basically when you use that link, you're getting all the discounts they offer to the clients. There's no additional discount code that you have to put in. So once you use that link that Miss Kathy has shared, or the ones that's on our page or description below, I can get that out.
And some of them you will go on there, and I was on there several nights ago, and I'm not sure if it's still going or not, but several of the prices had been slashed with discounts.
Yeah, there is discounts. Actually,
I was going through looking at.
There was somebody that bought today and spent a pretty good chunk, and they had dried fruits. They had a special on dried fruits and dried beans today. So when they used our link, they talked about that. So that made me go.
Now, is the beans in bulk, or are they? Can you pick like 1 pound or like 10 pounds?
You can buy sprouting seeds, or you can buy planting heirlooms, or you can actually buy bulk cooking beans. So there's a lot of options there. Hey Kim, how are you? Let's see. Was he the youngest to be processed? No, actually, Ike was probably a little bit younger than Petey. Mm-hmm. Petey had a better frame, and actually, we knew his bloodline was probably a little bit stronger than Ike's. Ike was out of a good herd, but just never grew off real big. Petey was growing off really good. We wish we could actually, if you go back and watch the videos of us taking Petey, we actually wanted to hold off on Petey just a little bit longer.
Probably until the beginning of the fall, really.
But because he started going crazy, and
he was nursing off. Yeah. And let's go back. If it would have been Allie, okay, maybe, because
she's a milk cow.
She's a milk cow, right? She produces a lot of milk. But he was going to our Hereford, which was nursing her baby,
She's
and
a first
they
time
just
heifer.
don't produce the kind of milk to feed 2 cows.
Yeah.
So we tried several different things as far as to get him to stop, separate him. When we separated him, he just lost his. Actually, it's like when we took him off that milk, it's like he lost his cotton picking mind.
Yeah.
When I tell y'all he was nuts after that, he was nuts. And we said after that, after jumping fences, and I actually had to go out one day and help. And I opened up the gate, and Allie went to come out, and I was trying to get her back in, and ended up slipping in the mud while holding Livy. And I was like, we're not doing this anymore. He is gone. So the next day, we loaded him up and took him. But he is good meat.
He's
He is
been
really
well
good
worth it.
meat.
Let's see, Piper, what brand of dehydrator do you have? We have the Excalibur
And I
dehydrator.
really, really like
We've
it.
tried 2 other ones, the kind from Bass Pro, which can't remember the name, and then there was one more, just kind of a knockoff.
Off brand.
They did okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. If that's what you have. That's what you have. We actually got one for $1. One was free.
Yeah.
But the Excalibur is definitely worth it. It's
The one
way
that
to
come
go.
from Bass Pro actually got through a fundraiser sale at a yard. It was a fundraiser for a church mission trip, but it was only $1, one whole dollar. This is the only difference that I noticed. It did its job. It did everything that it needed to do. It just took like double amount of time. So if
Right.
that doesn't bother you, it didn't bother me. But then I really needed something bigger. So my Excalibur is like huge compared to what I had.
I think it's
now
10 trays, I think.
I could put whatever I want in there and like let it run for 2 or 3 days, and it dehydrated it just fine. I mean, it took a little bit longer. I can stick everything in my Excalibur, which is kind of almost right behind us, and it's huge. And like in 24 hours, I can usually take all my stuff out and grind it up or put it up or do whatever.
For instance, we did beef jerky, and we're really trying to do that better. It's edible, but it's not the best. But when we were doing beef jerky in 3 to 4 hours, we were completely done. It was actually dried out a little too much, so it really has a good capability. Was Petey a different breed? Miss Kathy asked. He was actually a Brangus steer. Ike was a Baldy, so an Angus Hereford cross. So actually, they were pretty close in affiliation with an Angus cow. But just Petey had a better frame, a better taste. He really did.
But we also went to 2 different processors.
The processor, I think, was the biggest deal.
And I will say, we were very pleased.
We did age. Another thing, we aged Petey a little bit longer. We aged him 2 weeks versus 7 days with the other one. But it was, again, different butcher, better situation. Fowler family said actually they butchered their Angus steer about a month and a half ago. It's good to have meat put up because, for instance, we have Christoph next. He'll be going quicker sooner
We've got
than
to
later.
find out what Cracker Cow is. Now that has
There's been somebody else ask about it.
I know. Said we raised registered cracker cows, 100% grass fed, organic, good beef.
We yes, we are still live. Saint 902. We've talked about this in other videos. You're going to see the other 2 Angus that we're going to raise for steers after Christoph, which will be Uno and Valor. They'll be the ones coming from our other farm. We'll be bringing them here to pretty much raise to slaughter. That will probably be the last few Anguses that you see on farm because we're initially going to just weed our Angus herd out and to be just strictly Herefords and Jerseys, and probably going to incorporate some South Poles. So you'll see a lot of brown cows again, but we'll start raising Herefords for steers after that, and of course, in the Jerseys as well, depending on what the situation is there.
No and problem. Lily is now milking off of
Allie a little bit. This morning, Allie gave her a good kick.
Did she? Yeah, we were discussing. We were like, we cannot believe that Allie is letting her do that because Allie is a very temperamental and territorial cow. So when we saw that, we were shocked. But
she's smart.
This is what she was doing.
So Trixie, which is Allie's baby. The second calf she has, the one that's nursing, she nurses from the side. So what Lily has started doing is Lily, at the same time Trixie will nurse off the front quarters, Lily will go around to the back and start nursing.
Sneaks to the back.
So then
Only when Trixie's
Allie
nursing.
doesn't know that it's not Trixie trying to suck. So Allie lets her until then then all of a sudden, like this morning, she felt Trixie come off and there was still nursing going on, and that's when she kicked and realized it was not Trixie. So she's trying to learn her game, but Lily has been pretty smart. We don't worry about it as much because again we know
Allie is a huge milk producer, but we said all that to say the thing with Petey is we did say that we were worried about
good luck,
and he was huge. We were worried about
Darlene.
2 cows, and he was huge, nursing off of this beef cow mama.
Who's a first-time heifer with not a big bag.
And we were scared that not only was the baby going to get shafted from the milk, which would affect the baby, but we felt like it was going to really be dragging that mama down. It was going to be draining her too much. She was not built for that. She was not ready for that. Then I got sidetracked saying that he went loco, lost his mind
he did get crazy
when we pulled him off of that milk.
He does. She does. Yes, she has a wet nurse. That's funny. And again, Lily is gonna find a new home as well. We think she was bred with our rental bull, but we're just we're letting her just kind of really just kind of get fat here. This farm's got a lot of good grass, so we're letting her just get a little weight on her, kind of see if she is bred for sure. And then she will maneuver off on, like we talked about in the videos.
She definitely should be bred.
Sweet cow.
Unless she just can't get pregnant. She's been exposed, and so there's no doubt that she should.
And I was bragging on her today. There was a guy come to the house, and he was just looking at the cows, and he was admiring them. And he liked Angus, and she's a gorgeous cow. But for us, because we're trying to get that low-fat cow that eats close to the ground, that reminds you of just that's going to put on the weight that we're wanting to put on. The big structured boned cows, such as what she is, a Brangus, really, not really an Angus, but a Brangus cross, she's going to grow off to be a big cow, which will put a bigger footprint on our property. And not that that's a bad thing if you're into raising big cows. I think we're going to maneuver just again to the small, short, fat cows versus the tall, big bone cows.
Yeah.
And which makes sense for us.
Hey, Jennifer.
Let's see. Seeing that she says, I've got to order more soap now. Do you have any available?
What?
Do you have some soap available? Frankie H said, I got to order some more soap.
Do.
Yes, reach out to us via email, and we will get that taken care of. Hey, Miss Kathy is on it, so she's putting the stuff out there. Again, welcome, like Misty said. Hey, Drops, what's up? There's one thing I meant to say about the cow. I forgot now. But Christoph is next. Christoph will be coming up. We're going to let him grow since we were able to process Petey a little bit quicker. And then we're getting close to deer season. I think our beef will definitely be okay until the first of next year. Now, with the crazy volatility with this world that we're in, that may start that process a little bit quicker. But we're going to probably look at the first of the year for processing, depending on what deer season does for us.
Yep. I hope we got one deer put in the freezer last year, and I think we're almost through all of that, are we not?
Yeah, almost.
So
we still have like the tenderloins and stuff, but we don't have a lot of the ground meat.
We definitely need to get at least 2 or 3 in the freezer this
year. Well, what we call our primal meats, such as the sheep and the deer, tend to be a lot more leaner, kind of like turkey meat. So Misty likes it, but she likes it more of a combination meal versus it being like a hamburger or a hamburger steak. So
yeah, it's a little too much for me.
I love the leanness, but Misty doesn't. So we if we're making like chili, we'll incorporate that with our beef, or we'll mix it for something else.
Stacey, we are expecting her to deliver probably within the next 3 or 4 weeks.
We're bad about that,
maybe sooner. However, we were hoping that our barn was going to be at least started or done by now, but because we hit issues with the person that we had a contract with, so all of that fell through. And I'm hoping that
it's not the barn.
Yeah, I'm hoping that
it's been a bad subject.
She will hold off just a little bit longer, and I keep telling Colby I want to get her loaded and get her down here in one of these barns.
I checked her yesterday. She's okay right now.
Yeah, we're thinking probably 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah,
about 2 to 4 weeks. We'll be having piglets.
But now we name every animal, so we're used to eating the ones, and then that helps us keep up with what meat we got where. do y'all watch the cattle market summary? I do a little bit, Drops Family, for us because, okay, I'm gonna blow your mind. I don't know if I necessarily believe in stockyard beef in the way it's done with CAFOs and sometimes sale barns. Not saying that's not a good thing because it feeds the world, but our goal is to sell farm to farm, so we don't worry about the market summary of what the animal is bringing at market right now as much as what the animal will bring that farmer and what the asset is on the farm. I think I've seen that with regenerative farming. I looked at Greg Judy's herd the other day. He sold a herd for triple the cost of what I thought it would have went for. But it's because it's valuable because it was coming from a regenerative farm that was used to genetically grass-fed animals. So we're trying to develop kind of the same, definitely on a smaller scale, but our goal is not to sell to market as much as we want to sell to the person next door. Or if I can sell the person next door a steer that's going to go to market for $4 or $5 a pound, that's going to make me more money. It's going to save them more money. The quality of beef is going to be better, and it's automatically going to help local farm and beef and food to be better versus going to market, going to Texas or to a bigger stockyard in the Midwest. So we do, but we don't, to say the least. Now, like for instance, some of the Angus, we have one Angus. If y'all remember the little calf that was nursed back to health from Elsa. That calf is still on our big farm, and she is runny, terrible looking, and I doubt she'll sell. She will probably end up in a kill pen or end up a CAFO's stockyard. So that will be one that probably won't sell to a farm because she's just not a pretty cow. Her and her mom that did not
Neither
nurse
one
her,
of them, you can tell
they're
not good
breed.
genes. Yeah.
They were bought off a whim from my dad, and pretty much they need to go anyway. So they're not going to actually be a good breed to keep going. So those are the ones that I would rather not sell to farms because I don't want them tied to a bad herd for me.
Right, just let them go ahead.
They'll probably go to sale.
Yeah.
I wish I could buy beef for $5 a pound. It's stupid expensive now. It is very expensive. Walmart, if you go to the cheapest meat you can buy, which is a supermarket meat, you're still paying $4 to $7 a pound.
Stacy said, "What about the new pigs? Or any of them
females
run to breed?" I can't remember. So yeah, 3 of those were females, and they should be old enough to breed any day now.
Which set? The other American Guineas or the Yorkshire?
Well, we have actually 3 different sets of pigs. Yeah. The commercial breed, they are not old enough to breed yet, but there are 2 females in there, and then the other set of American Guinea hogs, there are 3 females in there, and they should be any day now. So I would expect within the next 4 months, this late fall, for them to deliver, and we are going to have a lot of piggies.
I know, really. Just Country Girl says our local butcher is $10.99 for grass fed. That's right, from the butcher, because the butcher is trying to make money off it, that's awesome. Support your local butcher for sure. Try to buy that same steer off farm, and hopefully it'll be a lot less because most cattlemen, if you're buying off farm, you'd be surprised you could pick it up for $5 or $6 per hanging weight, which will make it $6 to $7 per pound. But if you're buying a steak for $6 to $7 a pound that's been raised on a local farm, that's pretty awesome. We also have a small set of Aberdeen cows. My husband loves the history of both breeds. The Aberdeen cows, I think, are pretty too. I know a lot of people that do raise them south of us and kind of
what a cracker cow is.
The Aberdeens, I do like those. I have a friend that raises them kind of close to us. Not a lot of them, just 2 or 3 of them. Heavy rains bring golf ball sized mosquitoes and heavy flies. How about you? Yeah, so for instance, us, Lotus Blossom, Rehab Life.
Cracker cows?
Yeah, that's we have a lot of those. See, around here, the Florida cracker cow look just like a piney woods here. So we would call those almost like a piney woods here.
So I guess for those that I don't know if the color's gonna.
The brown and white spots with long horns.
Beautiful though, they're beautiful. They're very pretty.
Let's be. I've never seen so many. Oh my gosh, Mr. Robert, wait till you see the video coming up, not tomorrow, but the next day, of the canning shelf that we finished. It is unbelievable.
Y'all are going to love it as much as I do.
If you're moving a lot of your animals pretty good, you won't see the mosquitoes and flies as much. I will say that.
And yes, Miss Kathy, some different stews and stuff. That's a really good idea. See, I just don't think out of the box like that because
Hey, Miss Lana.
I haven't canned enough yet.
Got
So that is really a really, really good idea.
Lowe's Blossom, I can get hamburger meat from for $5.50 to $6 per pound for butcher box. That's not bad in this climate that we're in. It's really not bad. Now we're raising a little bit under that for sure. We're averaging for our grass fed beef. Petey was around $3.20 for a steak. I mean, that's pretty amazing, and ground beef. So
And
we were real pleased with that.
The best quality I feel like we have ever had.
Very, very good quality.
Ever.
And we don't
we
don't add anything with it. So whatever natural fats come on the animal is what goes into the animal. So we don't do any adding to the animal. So if there's no pig fat from the butcher going into it, there's no kind of other.
So we don't want your nothing going in our meat.
Actually, they always question me. They're like, "What? Why would you want? You don't want to add anything?" No. So we never add anything, and so we had what's so funny the other day. We ate steaks on the grill, and it's just like, man, we're eating fresh lamb and fresh beef off the grill for less than $3 a pound. That's amazing.
Yeah, we just did. Yeah, we did, and they're beautiful.
They remind me of a piney woods, Miss Manel.
I saw something about.
They look like piney woods,
almost endangered. That's crazy.
Yeah, virus yield. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's you're right. Anything, for instance, like any kind of longhorn animal around here, we'll see just a few. You don't see a lot around here of longhorn cows. You'll have one. They'll call them a pasture ornament, and you'll have one or two out here, but you don't see a lot in our area.
That was 3 spoiler alerts tonight.
Yeah. So with us raising our own grass-fed beef, it does make a good price. What is your processor charge? So Rehab Life, if we're processing, it depends on how we're processing. If we're processing a pork, the only cost I have at butcher is $55. Or no, excuse me, I'm sorry, $75 per animal because it's just a kill fee and scald fee. So that's the only cost I have in my pork. When it comes to our cows, and we're trying to build a cool room very, very soon to be able to do it ourselves. To get them to do cut, process, wrap, we have $55 per kill, and then we have, I think it's 40 cents per pound. I think 40 or 50 cents per pound Rehab Life, and then of course our cost into it. We had about $3. It was like $3.10 to $3.20 per pound. Lowe's Blossom says, "Do not raise animals, just really good feral cat army feed mix, feed birds and squirrels." What's another thing that we learned about how to get rid of mosquitoes and flies? What did we do last year with the horse flies? We did something. We made a spray, but there was something else we did. I thought that
we do. I went and sprayed the outside door down a few days ago. It helps, but it only helps for a short amount of time. It's not like anything permanent.
That is hanging weight, which is hoof pounds, Miss Kathy. Processed pounds though was still under was 320 for us. Our 310 to 320. Hoof pounds is how he charged us though. You're correct. But see, for instance, if I was selling a animal at butcher, like I sold a pig last year to butcher, I sold it for my sale to that consumer was, I'm going to pick it up and it's going to cost you $3.50 per pound. If I was doing a cow right now or a steer, it would probably be $4.25 per pound per hoof weight. So for that person to buy that, they would still have less than probably $5 a pound into that meat that's been raised grass fed. So that's why we're very, very careful, and we just don't raise enough meat because we're a family of 8. So for us, every steer we have is for us. What are you saying? I mean, it's hard for us to raise enough meat for someone else too.
Yep.
Because pigs we might can this next year because
we'll have way too many. Yeah. But even still, like we're out of link sausage now because we just eat so much. I mean, I think underestimate sometimes we eat a lot.
Yeah.
We have a big family, so we eat a lot.
We went through 3 pigs in 10 months. Correct.
Yeah, it was less than a year.
600 pounds of pork within 6. Within
But I have to
10
say,
months. We cook all
eat
the
it
time.
for breakfast, lunch, and supper. Like yesterday
Hey,
morning
Robert
was
Lee.
bacon. What did we have this morning? I can't even remember what we had for breakfast this morning. But tonight was sausage and biscuits
That's
with
awesome, Miss
eggs.
Darlene.
So I mean, again, that's 2 days worth of
Mr. Robert,
at least a pound of each of pork.
we have heard of butcher box. Hey, if you're not buying local from farm, I challenge you to always buy from a butcher or to buy something like a butcher box than to buy from markets or supermarkets just because you're getting a better quality meat. Thank you, Mr. Robert Lee. That means a lot to us. Rehab life, that's kind of our thing too. Actually, what's so funny, when we processed our bacon, I was like, man, we're going to go through this bacon so quick. We actually went through the sausage quicker than we have the bacon. We actually still have a good bit of our bacon left.
Yeah. And if I probably made my own bacon bits and stuff, we don't even eat bacon bits. But if I decided to put it on salad and in different dips and stuff, it would definitely go a whole lot faster. But I don't really.
You don't waste any bacon in our house though, as much as we've invested in that bacon.
Nope. But I just really don't do that a lot. I don't really.
Bar run, we'll probably go through, when it's all said and done, 800 pounds of pork a year. That probably does make sense for us, for sure.
Yeah. I hope that was just your phone.
Mr. Robert, I don't think we could ever get on their program because we're not USDA tested. Our meat is completely on farm. We try to stay away from the government as much as possible. So I know you have to have a lot more regulations for that. We've talked to Ben at VW for that. I think we're going to stay away from that. Just sell to us and sell hoof weight, basically like was talked about right there. Hanging weight. We'll sell the steer to the animal. The government
already has way too much telling people what to do as it is. They can stay off our farm.
Yeah. So we will rather sell you a steer and take it to the market for you, and you buy that at hoof weight, and you just pay us our cost out of it. That's kind of the best way for us to do it. Yeah, we don't waste bacon around here. Like if one of the kids don't eat it, it goes up, and I eat it later. We don't waste anything.
And
like
he
that.
ain't lying either.
No, I will smoke some bacon. I'm a meat eater. I am huge carnivore meat eater. So for me, I'd rather eat. What's so funny? I'd rather eat like meat and broccoli more than anything else. So I don't let any meat go to waste. Robert, I don't know if I could sell it direct. One day I could try to figure that out. I don't know if I could do it. I think it would probably ruin in the mail.
Find the first pig.
That's awesome, Anne-Marie.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm not going to lie.
Awesome.
I love pigs. I really enjoy raising pigs. Now, don't get me wrong. Once you train them to their nets, they're awesome. Until you train them, they could be very difficult.
Well,
but
I will say, old Georgie Boo, he's doesn't have to go. Yeah,
George needs to go. George keeps knocking over the water. George is probably 450 pounds too. I mean, George is a whopper.
And we have a huge, what is that, 30-gallon?
No,
50-gallon?
No. Yes, 55-gallon.
Drum of water, and he goes and rubs up against it every day and dumps it over. So unless we just go out there looking to see if he knocked the water over to stand it back up and refill it up, they are out there without water because he is so.
He's a fat boy.
Retarded.
He's a fat boy. He needs to go. The only thing is,
I'm like, why? Why do you do that?
He's so big.
Why do you go and knock the water over every day?
He's sweet as a hog.
I mean,
the thing that scares us though is you risk the chance of your meat being spoiled just because he's got testosterone running through him and he's a big old boy. He's older, so we really just don't really know what to do with him. He's a great breeder, and hopefully we might even sell him as a breeder or someone else. But we have other males now on the farm, so we don't really need him anymore for animal husbandry. Well,
I'm really hoping that we're going to be set up sooner than later. And I think if we could kill him, give him a kill shot here when he's not stressed out, I think the meat would be fine.
Great questions here. Poor Man's Homestead said, can you raise just one pig or do you have to have two? When you're raising ruminant animals such as cattle, sheep, or even goats, they're not considered full ruminant.
You want more than one.
They're herd animals. I will say this, and just like bee houses, if you're raising a beehive, you want 2 hives at least because they will help each other and you will learn from it. Pigs, here's what I would say. If I was you, I would always get more than one. I do think you need two.
But it's not necessary.
It's not, but it's not a have to. I know people that raise just one pig, but I think it's wise to raise two because then, to me, they do better. Animals tend to be less stressed when they're together and with their own type of animal. So if you have two pigs there, pigs love to huddle on each other, so they sleep huddled up. So if you have to,
especially when they're little,
they find comfort in that. So do you have to have two pigs? No. Is it wise to? Probably. And to be honest
I
with
guess you could compare it to having like a dog. You don't have to have two dogs, but they're
It's
going
that
to find
companionship,
comfort in
yeah.
each other, right? Like you said, it is
And
definitely that.
And I honestly believe that pigs are really not. You don't have to have a lot of space to raise pigs. People think you do because they tear up a place. They really don't tear up a place, especially if you rotate them correctly. So from one pig to two, you're talking maybe an extra 100 square foot per move. I mean, that's not a lot of room at all.
What kind of pig is he? George is an American guinea hog.
So we raise American guinea hog short snout. We raise American guinea hog now, a long snout, because we don't know what else to call them. And then we raise a Hampshire Yorkshire split breed, which is a conventional style hog.
So Miss Stacy says she eventually wants to breed
Kentucky
Lulu,
Widow Woman.
And Lulu's the one that was Peppa and George's baby. So
oh man, you should hit us up because we just sold, or you saw it. We sold Craig two of the males off another herd. Hey Rip. Poor connection for Amelia. Hey, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, absolutely.
Oregon. You're always so much. Vigilant of watching us, so thank you so much. Yeah, poor man. So I would definitely challenge you. The females tend to be a little bit quieter. The only time they actually get loud is when they see a feed bucket. They're gonna start squealing a little bit.
If they're really hungry, yes, they will.
Talking about hogs, you can't beat it. I love it.
Yep. So
thank you, Mr.
By the end of this year, we could possibly have
way too many hogs.
40
easily.
If Peppa and the three other girls say each have 7.
Yeah, that'd be 28 total.
21 plus 13. No, 28 plus 13.
That's what I'm saying, 28 plus 13. So that would be
potentially around
41.
That.
Yeah.
And then I would think by first of next summer, the other 2 commercial breed
they would
be having their babies.
They'd probably be before that.
And they tend to have an average of 7 to 12.
Yeah.
Where American guinea hogs usually tend to average 4 to 7.
Yeah.
They usually are set like around 7 to 12. So that's a lot.
Miss Kathy, great question. You can put a T-post around the water barrel. The thing with us, we really try to streamline our moves because we move our animals so much.
Oh, so we have strapped it to the tree.
Yeah, no, we have strapped it to the tree, and he
over.
tends to lean it, and if the top is not on good, it's going to end up dumping out. Then, of course, it just comes over. But less is more for us, so we try to streamline it. Now, we are going to go to a different waterer. If you watch my pig watering video, actually, it's done really well lately. Instead of doing this standing up 55-gallon bucket, and I said you can use a cattle trough. If we keep George around, we're going to take a 100-gallon cattle trough that lays where you can't dump it over because a cow can't or a bull can't even dump it over. And then we're going to put those waterers on that. So that way he really can't dump it over. We just fill it from the top. So we can put the 2 or 3 T-posts around it. If we were doing it in permanent fencing, that would work perfect. But because we're moving it so much, it's kind of hard to do that for us. Or yeah, I guess you can. That's just more moving.
It's more work. But if you think about how many times Aiden has to go back up there and stand up the thing daily and refill it up, I mean, ultimately
he struggles to knock it over when it's completely full and it has the top on it.
But if they drink it down he always goes and knocks it over.
That's right.
But it's almost like a daily thing. Almost at any point in time,
Brenda.
We go out and he has knocked it over, and it's such a pain in the butt.
We've thought about doing a full grind on him, Miss Kathy. If we process him, it will be a full grind.
Yeah, it will be. But I think that the thing to be, and I'm not an expert, but in my thinking, if we pull him away from all the females and decrease his
testosterone
hormones going through, because it would be him and like another male, and just get them away from the girls for several weeks, then kill him here on farm. Hopefully we'll be set up for that. And then grind everything up. I feel like it will be fine. But it's always it's always a slight risk.
Big Dave, how are the chickens and ducks doing? They're just getting on my nerves. They stay on my nerves. Poultry stays on my nerves. They're all doing good though.
Hey,
Every once in a while we'll lose one
today.
Here. Called Derek. So Aiden has named this chicken Derek, and Derek gets out religiously every day.
And he comes to my porches.
And he's like this little barred rock that's like this big. So Aiden just calls him Derek now. So now he's just Derek. That's the only chicken. That's the only chicken we actually have ever named.
Anyway, I called him today and I put him in the turkeys. Him or her, I don't know what it is. I think it's a rooster.
Derek.
And put him in the back because I made Aiden pressure wash our front porch and our back porch just because we usually do it once a year, but because I am in with the babies, I told Aiden this year, look, I'll pay you $10 if you'll go pressure wash the front porches and the back porches for me. And
that means a lot, Mr. Robert Lee.
I don't know where I was going with that story.
About Derek moving all the chickens down there.
Yeah, I moved them down there. Anyway, I called him and I put him down there in that pen because I was like, he poops all over the porch, and that is the one thing that drives me nuts is a chicken.
We can't streamline chickens and poultry. We move them, but they take longer to me than moving pigs and lambs and cattle. A few more questions, then we got to go. How big are your pen square footage per pig? Anne Marie, we raise 3 to 5 pigs and 100 to 200 net linear foot nets for Premier One hog nets. So like right now we've got them in 100 foot nets.
Oh, that was a good one, Miss Donna.
100 linear foot nets. We will move them every 3 days. When we have them in 200 foot, we usually do 7 to 10 days because it gives them more room and usually it's around trees, and they only use the restroom in one spot. Pigs are good about trying to be clean. So in the 100-foot nets,
clean only with their food.
Yeah. But like in 100-foot nets, because they don't have as much room, we don't want them going back towards their manure. For the 200 linear foot, they have a little bit more room, so a little bit more time. So like right now, just because it's flooding yesterday, we put them in single nets, so we'll move them again closer to the weekend. But we raise 4 to 5 hogs in that, and they till up
and
good.
They love
so they do
the pig forest. Like we have them out in the forest
They were
area.
Eating hedges all day yesterday.
Yep, and they love it.
Boys' room is finished with Starlene. We have a little video of Misty doing a sneak peek of that. We actually need to do another farm tour very soon because our farm has grown exponentially since last growth. I think Colby is thinking about more Freedom Rangers, negative rehab life, or Big Dave.
Yeah, that was a good joke.
You will both be canceled and kicked off this life. Derek's going to be the next one. We might just kill him for the fun of it.
Well, he ain't getting out anymore. If he gets out of that bin, then he's still got to go through another gate before he can get back up here on the board. But the only reason I called him, you'll know the reason why I called him?
How?
Take a guess where he was.
I mean, in the garage?
In the garage. Where in the garage?
On your car? Upstairs?
No. In the feed room.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all. Trying to get to those worms.
So we have he was over there by my worms, but he can't get in my worm container. But anyway, he'd come in the garage, y'all. In the garage and went over in the feed room, and Harley was going to feed Hattie Mae and Spike, and she come running back in here. She was like, "Oh, I can't get the feed," and I was like, "Why, Harley? What's wrong?" And she was like, "The chicken is in there."
See you, Bar
I
Run.
said, "Just run him out." And then I was like, "Oh no, don't I can go get him." So I went in there and shut that door. I was like, "Oh, you ain't getting out
Misty
here."
versus Derek.
So I got him and walked him down to the bin down there.
All right, so we've been on for over an hour. Thank y'all so much for coming on. It's always fun to talk to y'all, and even though it goes from Derek to Petey and everything else, so we had a good time tonight. So thank y'all for coming on. Hey, remember next time you buy onion powder,
think of the max.
Think of the max and think how much work went in, how much tears Misty's got in these onions.
Literal.
How many tears are in these onions? Thank y'all guys for watching. God bless.
Happy homesteading, y'all.
Happy homestead.